Right, well, hello guys. Here we are, accompanied by my ever noisy pooch, who just has to come and say hello every time I press record, like she knows. Right, so this is just a brief one, I just wanted to show you where I'm at. Right, now, as you'll notice, Big Yellow is on wheels, and this is a solid axle chassis, and the dog's doing my head in already. Right, so, pardon me, just pause for a moment. Right, so what have I done? Why are you seeing two of these on wheels and one? Well, I am about to rip this apart, so I thought I'd give you one last look at it. I fixed the shockers. I should have used these shockers for this from the beginning, but I wanted to give it the sort of soft, floaty, classic sort of old truck look. So I specifically didn't use stronger shockers, and I should have used these because they are quite stiff, and with the weight, probably would have been. She's telling me she needs to go to the loo. Well, we've been sat on the couch watching TV for 2 hours, so she could have done it then. Right, I better go lay down. She'll come back in as soon as I start talking. But she's watching me. Look, she's watching me. Right, so why is this? Right, now this is the chassis that's going under this. Well, partially. The chassis rails on the Excursion are aluminium, and these are steel, so therefore very heavy. I'm nicking the axles for that because I'm going to make it like a sort of Monster Jam sort of wide truck thing. I think it's going to work anyway. This video for me is not going well. Right, so before I rip this apart, like I've already covered, there are some fixes to be made. This was just a cobbled together thing to get it working. Now, as it turns out, it worked very well. It was, what, from when I started building this to its first run was like nearly 2 years. COVID-19 had little hand in that because I wasn't allowed to take it out anywhere. But I can't blame that entirely. My life isn't the same as it was when I started to build this, so I don't get to go out as often as I used to do. So I don't actually get much runtime with these. But anyway, that besides, I couldn't. I've always earmarked this to be stripped apart again. It was only ever an experiment to see if I could do it and how well it did. Now, there was always some glaring issues with it, like, well, for a start, this monster slop, which I never really managed to fix. So I always planned on going back to a chassis that was already done, an all-independent suspension chassis based on an Emax. And this sort of replaced that because I could again, but because you could doesn't necessarily mean that you should, to quote Dr. Malcolm from Jurassic Park. So it was flawed from the start. I could never get it really working properly well from the start. So, but I couldn't take it apart, like I've already said now, until I'd actually run it. Now, you've seen the run. We drove it to destruction, me and my daughter. We definitely drove it to destruction. Right, now, why am I showing you this? Because, first of all, I'm going to have to crack this front section from the rear section. So, it's going to be permanently destroyed from that point. Now, the way I've mounted this is this panel sort of comes underneath and up at a right angle. The chassis rails are actually bolted that way or that way into this. Now, that is not going to work on that because I already have the rear section of the floor pan done. So, all I'm going to do is cherry pick the parts that I like that went well on that with the parts that went well and that I liked on this and see if I can amalgamate them together. Now, this gearbox is going to be mid-mounted in that. So I think we're done with this chassis for now. I just wanted to give you one last look at it before I literally ripped it apart. Now, I was always very impressed. It's so heavy, it just sits. With how this... Alright, it's not going to sit. With how this turned out. But it's rough. So I got the I'm going to say welds because I use JB Weld. I got the welds and the floor panels much straighter and more professional looking on that one. So I'm going to have to, when I take this apart, like these ugly bits with the screws, I'm literally going to have to get a chisel and literally chip these off, hopefully not damaging it. I used aluminium tape to make what looked like seams, and it's all come off, so I'm literally going to have to strip all the paint off this, JB weld it all so it all looks nice, and then join it to that. Now that could be a while, that could be for a while, so while I'm doing that, I may not have a 1/6 to use, so I went with this. Yes, it's on wheels. Because this chassis already existed, I've not built it from scratch, this was already intact. Now because I stripped out all of the front inner fenders on this one to accommodate those, there's no structure at the front, so I'm going to have to make a mount at the front, but it already fastens in at the back using the standard sort of body. So let's tip it over and hope for the top and the bottom will stay together. They're not going to, so we'll just do that. Right, now that's basically what we've got there, two Emax chassis bolted together. Now, bear with me for a moment. Right, back again. So, yeah, I'm hoping that there's enough space here under the... Something just moved behind me, I'm on my own. House is haunted. Hopefully that massive gearbox assembly, it's meant to fit here, with the bottom half protruding, the drive shaft run straight front and back. There's no movement because this is all solid. Being independent suspension, it's like once it gets to there, all the movements from there. But so hopefully, without too much trimming to the body, I will be able to fit the gearbox here, and it'll be mid-mounted. Now, anybody who's ever been a big fan of the Fall Guy will know that the GMC Sierra, Grand Sierra that they used on that, the gearbox and motor and the engine was mounted in the middle to give it good weight balance. The engine wasn't in the front in case it landed nose heavy. So that's what gave me the idea. Now, I can trim this because there's these speaker panels behind that, which you can't really see at the moment. So I've got quite a bit of space forward behind the seats. So I'll just make some faux luggage in the back if I'm going to have to do that. But it is going there. Now, that's the back of the cab where it joins the truck bed. So I'm hoping between there and the back of the seats is going to be enough to fit, because the motors are that size, so technically there is enough space there. I just, how much I have to cut away and how creative I have to get. Now I've got this, now somebody asked me what the hell street furniture was when I mentioned it the other day. It's a street sign. It had do not drop litter on it, so it was a street sign, a council street sign. Now, you'll notice it's plenty big enough, and it's got like this. You see that? Yeah, there's a plastic layer in between the two, like, I think they're 0.8 mil, not 0.8 mil aluminium, so you can screw into it, but it's like proper rigid. I'm putting my full weight onto that and it is not bending, so that will be awesome for that. So, yeah, I will use this as a template, but because it's wide enough, I can run it to these screw holes here, and that's basically the plan. Like I say, I've been busy. We went away for the weekend because it was our wedding anniversary. Hang on, I need to put this down. Right, now, as you can see, this works. The skid plates do bottom out. So these are the original Red Spring Emax shockers. They are brand new. Lifted straight from a brand new Emax, bought them off eBay. I've got that. So if I put stiffer shock oil and stiffer springs on this, I should get better performance out of it. Now I have a full set of integer springs. They gave me about 8 sets of springs. They are knocking around somewhere. There's some brown ones and some green ones which are very stiff. I don't know what I did with them. They are knocking around somewhere now. The green ones should be perfect for this because of the weight. Because once I get the extra size floor panning and the motor and stuff, and then the battery and the electronics, we're adding probably almost as much as it weighs right now, because it doesn't weigh very much all right now. And as you can see, it's still sinking. Now I'd also thought about the idea of, if I could take you inside here, removing a little from this. Where my finger is now, that is the end of the arm, so I'm thinking of taking a full 10mm off this, and that will bring the wheels into the arches nicely. Now, how structurally resistant to breakages these will be after that is anybody's guess, because they're old. I don't want to cut up a set of RPM arms. I really don't want to go with aluminium ones, so because they're expensive and now very, very rare. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I had thought about using square aluminium tube and welding to make new A-arms that are the right width, so that'll be a later project. That'd be interesting if I could do that. I have a blowtorch, a map torch, and some rod that's supposed to be designed for welding aluminium at very low temperatures. Haven't tried it yet, so maybe I'll have to give that a go before the summer's over. If I can start making my own like roll cages. It's basically brazing but for aluminium. So if I can get that technique down, I may or may not give it a repaint. I mean, it's sort of weathered itself. I used Rust-Oleum paint. Now I don't know if you're supposed to put a clear top coat on this to seal it or what, but every time I touched it with greasy fingers it left dirt permanently ingrained in the paint. Now if you rub it, it comes off. You see a bit of clean spot there, but anyway, so there we go. I will have 2 of these. I don't know if I've showed you the grill. I'm still thinking it's oversized. The Ford, I'm going to make a smaller font and try it again and see how it looks. I'm also tempted to replace these double E axles. I don't think they're going to be strong enough. Now I have some actually Everest 10 axles with full metal lockers inside, so they should be tough as hell and probably up to the job. Now, not quite as wide as these, but that will bring the wheels into the arches. I've got some extenders, so who knows. Anyway, 30 minutes, rambled longer than I planned, but there we go, that's what's coming. I just wanted to show you this. I'm excited for this. Now, I've had this running on this chassis before, when I had the motor up the front and the transfer case, but I'm going to ditch that because it removes a little of the ground, a little of the wheel speed. This is not a crawler, this is going to be a basher first and foremost, so I need a little bit more grunt out of it. Now, I may use a single motor, a single brushless motor instead of the twin motors. We'll see what space I've got underneath here when I get started. So there we go. Okay, guys. So the battery will be in the front, I think, once it's finished, because I'll have all this space here and nothing to go in it. I may actually use the motor up front, like I've got in this. Oh, yeah. Well, the motor's not actually in front there, it's sort of like mounted here. So we'll see. But anyway, that's the plan. So the next time you see this, it will be a collection of parts. Let me know if you want to see the rebuild of that, or indeed want it featuring. I know I've got some subscribers who've probably never seen that other than on the shelf up there. So let me know if you want to see it out and about, out on the bench, as other famous YouTubers using it at the moment. Try not to infringe on anybody's territory. Anyway, there we go. 15 minutes. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully next time you see this, it'll have the motor in it. May not be running, but it'll have the motor in it. Right. Thanks for watching. Bye.